We start on today's topic, which is file-based data import. Okay, everyday process. File-based data import. Everyday process. Mainly, we can use this process for inbound patterns or inbound interfaces. Okay. First, we'll see the process, how this process will works and what would happen in background. What are the ESL jobs can be triggered by default and how we can reprocess a couple of, first we'll see the theory part, then after we'll see the OER, then after we'll see, again we will visit OER to find this everyday process and all. Then after we'll see the GL interface. Okay. First, how the everyday process will works. So for any everyday process, we do have two standard ESL jobs will be available. Any everyday process does have two standard ESL jobs. Okay. First one is load interface file for import. The second one is main import process. Main import process. Here the main import process name will come into picture, not your exact main import process name. If it is import journals, then import journals. If it is import AR invoice, if it is, then import auto invoice will come into picture. If it is import customers, import bulk data customers will come into picture. So, if you want to work with any everyday process, we need to submit two standard ESL jobs, the load interface file for import and the main import process. So what does do a load interface file for import is nothing but push the data into interface tables. Push the data into interface tables. So before that, how it will push the data in interface table? Nothing but first we need to ready with the data file, right? First we need to ready with the data file. So for that, connect to OER and target business entity. Here business entity is nothing but whichever entity you are trying to work. If it is import journals or AR customers or AR invoices or suppliers or sales orders, payables, whatever it may be, any business entity, whichever business entity you are trying to work in, the same business entity, just you need to find against your OER. Then after download VDA file, VDA spreadsheet file, populate the data, the data and zip the file. Okay. So within the spreadsheet itself, these two activities will come into picture. When you download the spreadsheet file, in the spreadsheet, you need to populate the data and zip the file. So when it is zip the file, successfully, zip file contains CSV files against each interface table. example, if you take in a GL interface case, we do have only one interface table, which is GL interface table. The moment the zip file contains only one CSV file. When you zip this AR invoices, it has, you know, 4 interface tables: RA customer, RA interface lines, or RA interface distributions, or some sales credits, or something contacts. The moment zip file contains 4 CSV files. Same way when you're working with the customers, customer does have around 18 interface tables are there, 18. So whichever data you are populated, the same files can be converted as a CSV file, and it will CSV file, all the CSV file will be sitting in one of the zip file. Okay. So here, how you are populating the data here, how you are populating the data into your spreadsheet? 2 ways. Here 2 ways. If it is EBS system, then it's our responsibility to extract the data from your R12 system. For that, you need to prepare SQL statements in order to extract the data, same as your FBDA sheet. If it is EBS system, it's our responsibility to extract the data with help of SQL statements, same as FBDA sheets or files. Okay. If it is our EBS system, it's our technical job in order to prepare the SQL statement to extract the data. If it is out of ERP system, okay, if it is out of ERP system, if it is non-Oracle system, it is a responsibility to client. It's a responsibility to client to extract the data, and they will populate the data into the spreadsheet itself. Okay, they will populate the data into the spreadsheet itself. Okay, if it is non-Oracle system, then client will take care. Client will take care to extract the data and populate the same into spreadsheets. Okay, into the spreadsheets. Again, what will do client? Simply they will populate the data into spreadsheet. So we will try to zip the file, that spreadsheet, and zip file contains a CSV file against each interface table. Okay, this is how to populate the data on your spreadsheets. So once you are ready with your zip file, the load interface, first you need to submit the load interface file for import ESS job, which is a standard ESS job. So what it will do, it will push the data into interface tables from CSV files. With help of SQL loader. You know SQL loader, right? SQL loader is nothing but simply it will insert the data from flat file to interface tables or flat files to any table. Okay. So here also Oracle is invoking SQL loader in order to insert the data from your CSV file to your interface table. So how does it will work? The load interface file for import, how it is inserting the data into your interface table, which includes CSVs with help of SQL loader, nothing but it will trigger again child jobs. It will trigger again child jobs. Very first, it will trigger the transfer file. What it will, the transfer file ESS job, what does it will do is nothing but this ESS job will transfer the file, whichever zip file is there, this zip file, it will transfer to respect to UCM location path. Transfer the file to UCM location path. So how this UCM location path it will get is nothing but against your business entity, by default it will get your UCM location path. Before that, the load interface file for import does have two parameters. Two parameters. One is file. One is process name. File is nothing but you need to select your zip file. Process name is nothing but you will get from OER. Get from OER. If it is import journals, if it is journals, nothing but the process name is import journals. Okay. So when you submit this load interface file for import with these two parameters, very first time, it will trigger one of the ESA job, which is transfer file. Okay. The transfer file, what it will do, it will transfer this zip file into this import journals UCM location path. And after load file to interface, one more ESA job can be triggered. This ESA job can have in the background SQL loader. Okay, SQL loader. It will what it will do ESA job. This ESA job will unzip the file from this UCM location. Unzip the file from the UCM location. It will get the CSV file. It will get the CSV file and insert the data into interface table. Okay. Load file to interface can be submit for each interface table. For each interface table. Load file to interface, this ESA job can be submit for each interface table. For example, if you have 18 interface tables, then it will submit 18 times in order to insert the data into for each interface table. Okay, for each interface table. Now, while inserting the data into interface table, if any errors, while inserting the data into interface tables, any errors, something data type mismatch, something, length issues, whatever it may be. If any data issues or if any column sequence issues are there, simply what it will do, generally, this is SQL loader, right? It will generate that file for us. It will generate bad file. Bad file contains rejected records. Contains rejected records. Contains rejected records. All the records can be revoked. All the records can be revoked if any, all the records can be revoked if any one error. So when it will issue the commit for your interface table is nothing but if there are no errors on. There is no partial import for your interface tables. There is no partial interface for your interface tables. If any errors are there, at least if any one error would be there, simply it will reject all your records. It will generate a bad file and the process in a warning status. And the process in a warning status. Overall, your if any errors, then if any errors, the load interface file for import ESA job status warning status. Warning status is nothing but something issue with your data. Okay. Again, you need to recorrect the data, revalidate your data, correct the data, again zip the file, again iterate the process. So your data will successfully insert into your interface tables. So once it is successfully inserted in interface tables, then your status in a succeeded. If no errors, load interface file for import ESS job is job status is in a success status, and all the data interface tables. All the data in interface tables. This is your load interface file for import first ESS job work. Any doubts here? Any clarifications? Any doubts? Up to this. So far, anyone, any doubts, any clarifications? It's clear? Vishal, Ashwini, Yogesh.
This is Yogesh. What is ORE?
OER, I will tell you. I will show you. Oracle Enterprise Repository. Nothing but you can find all your SaaS application content. Very first session I have been shown, right? docs.oracle.com. That is nothing but OER, Oracle Enterprise Repository. There you can find all your everyday process, REST APIs, web services, BAP, manuals, tables. Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything like if 50 errors, then till 50 errors, it can be the job can be success status like that?
No, there is no partial error. There is no partial to insert into your interface tables. If at least any one error is there, simply it will reject all the records. Okay, all the records are rejected. It will generate the bad file for rejected records. You need to correct the data. Again, you need to reiterate the process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, okay. This is load interface file for import. Now the main import process. The main import. For example, if it is GL process. Example, import journals. My main import process name is import journals. You need to submit these import journals. You need to submit this import journals ESS job from scheduled process. Okay. This import journal does have the parameters. The way for each main import process does have each business entity wise import process name, and it's have its own parameters. So what it will do, the import journals, it will validate the data from your interface tables. Validate the data from interface tables and push the data into base tables. So what is import journals base tables in generally? GLJ headers, GLJ lines, GLJ batches. Okay, these tables can be affected, and these import journals in a completed with a success status. If any errors are there, again, while importing the data from interface tables to base tables, any errors, again, this can be allowed for partial import. Main import process will allow for partial import. If any errors are there, it will generate log file for errors. Okay. Again, you need to reiterate your, just correct your data from your interface table. Again, you need to reiterate the process this in order to reprocess your data. So how will you reprocess the data? Nothing but very first time, let's assume interface, your spreadsheet, nothing but interface table contain 100 records. Okay, main import processed 50 records. Main import process 50 records. 100 records in interface tables, and main import process 50 records. 50 are in error status. Okay, it's time to reprocess 50 error records. Reprocess 50 error records. So how will you process this how will you reprocess these errored out records? So for the reprocess mechanism would be different entity to entity. It would be not same for all the entities. Okay, up to this load interface file for import, and this would be same for all the business entities. Whereas the reprocess mechanism will come into picture, it's against our business entity. Okay, if it is GL import, if it is journal import, then the reprocess mechanism would be first purge the data, purge or delete the data against interface table. You need to delete all your 50 transactions from your interface tables by submitting purge interface tables ESH job. Purge interface tables ESH job. Again, does this have two parameters? Two parameters. Does have two parameters. One is the process name, nothing but your import journals, and load request ID. Load request. So what is the load request ID? Is nothing but when you insert the data by using load interface file for import through interface tables. Okay, for each record it will generate a load request ID. That load request ID we need to pass here, so that against load request ID, if any records are available, simply it will delete the data from your interface table. The way all the 50 records can be vanished, deleted from your interface table. So again, you need to reprocess these 50 error records, right? Let's assume you are corrected these 50 error records. You need to iterate the process load interface file for import again. Again, submit the main import process. Only you need to process 50 error records. So how will you identify only these 50 error records? Is nothing but for import journals, it will error out the records which is source wise. Source wise, against source wise, you need to submit the data. So that again these 50 records will be in your base tables. When data successfully push it to your base tables, okay. When data is successfully in your base tables, automatically success records can be deleted from interface tables. Success records can be deleted from interface tables. Again, this scenario would be work again depends on your business entity. For some of the business entities, still your data in your interface tables itself, still it would be remain same. For GL and for AR invoices, data gets deleted from interface table. For AR customers and sales orders and some other business entities, still your data would be there in your interface tables.
So we won't be able to remove them?
No, it's not. It's not such like that. Again, it will generate a unique ID. Based on the unique ID, it will segregate the data.
Okay. If we wanted to delete, we can purge it and
You can,
delete them.
yeah, you can delete. You can pass the load request ID against the process. The best practice is always delete the data from your interface tables by you submitting purge interface tables followed by two parameters, which is the process name and the load request ID. You can find the load request ID from your interface table. For each record, it will populate load request ID. This is the process of FBDA process. It's the process of FBDA, file-based data import. This main import process logic will be work against your business entity. This would be not same as your all business entities. Okay. So any doubts, any clarifications on the FBDA process?
So Vijay, here, yeah. So here, there is like one other feature, right? Import errors through spreadsheet.
Yeah, that is,
So,
I'm going to tell you the next.
so in that case, I had, yeah, that is the next thing. But
Yes.
for those errors which are been, let's say 50 errors in the example, so we
Mhm.
can re-upload using that spreadsheet, right?
Yes, yes.
That is that applicable for all the modules, or is it
Yes,
only specific?
not all the modules, whichever is Oracle is provided, those modules can be accessible, but not for all.
Like financial,
Yeah,
AR.
mostly for finance track, we do have that facility, finance and ACM track. Most of the business areas, we do have that facility. Okay. So here, if any errors are there in the main import process, so as I said, you need to parse the data from interface table and you need to reiterate the process, right? So in order to avoid this, if you have a minimal errors, client is suggesting please reprocess from your end only. Okay. If you are trying to reprocess the data, always you can go for the purge concept. If it is functional person requirement, if functional team is trying to reprocess the data, or if the client will takes a headache to reprocess the data, then he will approach the one more process, which is ADFDI. ADFDI plugin. ADFDI plugin enable spreadsheet. Okay. So there is a ADFDA plugin enable spreadsheet can be available for each business entity for the finance and SCM track. For example, if it is import journals, so when you go for creating an import journal screen, there you can find correct import errors. Especially this is for to correct the import errors. Download this ADFDA enabled plugin spreadsheet from your application. Okay, download the sheet from the application and it will connect to the SaaS application. The Excel sheet itself connect to the SaaS application. There you can find your related 50 error records. Just find those 50 error records and you need to correct the data on the spreadsheet itself. And again, you can push the data from the spreadsheet itself to the application. No need to, process this purge concept. If it is for minimal errors, it's not possible for bulk errors. Okay.
Vijay, what is the best practice? Is it always, let's say, 100 records are been successful, right?
Yes. So
Uh,
as my experience, client will not take care and the functional team also not take care for the reprocess mechanism.
no. I'm not talking about the
Yes.
reprocessing, the purging program.
Yeah,
Let's
that
say
is.
100 records have been successful. Is it a best practice to purge it always, or like only whenever there is an errors, only then the purge should be initiated?
No, if any errors are, then only your purge will be initiated. Since
Right.
if it is success, all the data will be deleted from your interface tables automatically.
Okay.
Success. All your interface table always clean. If any errors are there,
Got
you find the error status and error related information against your data.
Okay.
Okay, when you
But
want
it
to
won't be, those successful records will not have the status in the table with success.
no, not
Those,
no,
right?
no. When the data is successfully deleted from your interface table, indirectly this data is success.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
So in EBIS generally on the AP interface, right? So invoices shows up as a success
Yeah,
sometimes.
across interface tables for AP invoices, same status here also. You can see the
Okay.
data which are in success status against your interface table. Still, your data remains would be in your interface table with a success status.
Got it. Okay.
It's again depends on your business entity. So anybody has any questions? Any others?
So this is Yogesh. What is the difference between generals and general ledgers?
Sorry?
Generals and general ledger, GL. Difference
Generals and
between.
general ledger.
Yes.
Generals and general ledger is generals is nothing but your accounting data. Whichever applications your supply chain management, finance, all the data would be there, right? If you want accounting this data, these all the data will be pushed to your general ledger application.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So how you are push the data to the general ledger application with help of this import journals business entity. This is one of the everyday process.
Yeah.
In order to push your accounting information from source systems to your legacy, sorry, your target Oracle system. Okay.
Got it.
Okay.
Vijay,
Vijay,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, Vijay, I have one question. Like when we run the purge program, so like it will delete all the data at once from the table, or like say if we have 50 error record and we will have the request ID. So like, do we need to give the request ID each time and run the
Yes, exactly.
program multiple time?
Yeah, each time you need to get the correct request ID. Against request ID, if any records are available, it will delete from your interface table.
Okay, so like we have to run this program multiple times, right? If we
Yeah,
have.
if you iterate this process multiple times, obviously you need to delete multiple times.
Okay. Okay.
There is a range option also. You
Yeah,
can
range
use that.
option also available. Load request ID. You can delete the data from one request ID to another request ID.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Vijay, in this process, can we write custom business logic
There
for
is no
any kind of?
custom concept will come into picture. All
Mhm.
you need to validate against your everyday sheet itself.
But in case if you need any kind of data transformation, then how will you do that?
OIC will come into picture.
Okay, okay, okay.
This is complete the manual process. If you want to automate the process, if you want to perform any business validations on top of your custom data, then DBS database cloud service along with your OIC will come into picture. There you can perform all the transformations.
Okay.
As of now, this is a manual process. If the client does have the OIC, then obviously you need to automate this process. If the client doesn't have this OIC process, you need to go for the manual approach. This is a manual approach.
Okay.
Okay. They in the OIC will submit this load interface file for import, main import in the OIC with the help of integration. When you submit an integration, when you place in a file in FTP server, automatically it will pick the file and it will submit these two processes and perform the process. If any errors are there, it will send an email notification along with your errors, followed by the request IDs. That is the automation process. Okay. So hope everyone is clear on the process wise, right? Okay. Now we'll visit to the OER ones. This is our OER. This is cloud applications. So now we are in finance. Now we are in the finance track. Just we are to enterprise. Very first session we have visited this. I guess the second session we are visited this website, if you remember. This is Oracle Enterprise Repository, nothing but docs.oracle.com. You can contain all the manuals against your SaaS applications. So in the left side, you can see the administrator section. In the administrator section, you can find the import data section. There is a section import data. Get started with file-based data import. Just click on the same. Okay. So here this you can find file-based data import for financials. These are the financials for everyday processes. So here if you can find the general ledger, this is general ledger. For a general ledger, these many everyday processes can be available. Import account combinations, import general ledger budget balances, import segment values and hierarchies, import and calculate daily rates, and journal import. These are the everyday processes would be available against your GL application. Just click on the journal import. So this is journal import. Import journals to general ledger. Object to owner something general ledger, and the UCM account. For this UCM account is finance, general ledger, and the import. This is a UCM account. Internally, it will refer this UCM account when you submit this journal import. UCM account, nothing but UCM server causes finance, general ledger, and the import. And this is your template, XLSM spreadsheet. Just click on the template. It will download template to the local machine. So this template, how it is maintaining the template, nothing but how the SQL loader is inserting the data into your interface table is nothing but with help of control file. This is my control file, and this is my table. So what is the table? It's referring this nothing but GL interface table. This GL interface can contain only one interface table. Here you can find all your interface tables. This is my GL interface table. If you click on this, it will navigate to GL interface table structure.
And Vijay, this document is updated for the latest version, right?
Yes, every quarter it will try to update the version. If any updates are there, you can find easily.
Okay.
So this is GL interface. This is GL interface table structure you can find. And this is schedule process, nothing but import journals. This schedule process, nothing but load interface file for import does have two parameters, right? One is zip file, one is process name. The process name you can find here. This is import journals. 95% your process name and the main import process name would be same. Very less scenarios, very rare scenarios, your process name and the main import process name would be different. Okay, that is you can find from the support.oracle.com if it is something different. So always it will show here your load interface file for import second parameter process name. This is import journals for this case. Just a minute. Excuse me. If you go for the payable, this is payable standard invoice import. This is your UCM account, and it's referring to control files. Two control files, nothing but it's referring to interface tables. Those are AP invoice lines interface, AP invoices interface. The process name is import payable invoices. You go for the receivables, auto invoice import. Here I have four control files, nothing but four interface tables are here. These are the four interface tables, and this is my schedule process name. This is upload customer. Again, I have four interface tables I have. Okay. The way you can find all your everyday process, and you can find just you can see the control file structure itself, but we cannot do anything with the control file. This is not helpful for us. Just Oracle, for their internal purpose, they are maintaining all the control files and related information against our OER. Okay. Now, this is your journal import. Just try to open the journal import everyday sheet. All sample FBD sheets, okay, whichever you are downloading from your OER, all these sheets can have, sample data. Already Oracle is tested within a sample data. The same sample data we are able to see against each template. So very first time we don't know, right, how to populate the data for this sheet. So our Oracle is provided a reference data for us. Simply need to follow this reference data, how Oracle is following the same you can use to populate the data. So this is your journal import template. So we do have couple of columns are available here. If you see, for each column there is a star symbol is available here. Star symbol is nothing but these are mandatory columns. These are mandatory columns in order to populate the data for your journal.
In real time, while working in company, the same data is useful, or company provide other data?
That is saying, right? This is for only reference data for us. When you working with the real time, this is empty sheet. When you work with real time empty sheet, you need to populate your client data here. Okay.
Means it's just a reference, right?
Yeah, just for reference, how Oracle is populating the data. First, what you have to do, first you need to test for any one of the transaction. First, you need to test for any one of the transaction, and you can send for business validation or functional team or onshore or business validations. If anyone validate your data against your application, if everything looks good, they will provide an approval for you in order to push the data for bulk.
Means company wise, it will change this data.
Yeah, based on project, right?
Yeah, okay.
On the project, this data will be changed. If it is EBS, our job in order to extract the data from your EBS tables. If it is non-EBS system, they will provide the data on the on this sheet itself. Okay, if it is, we need to write an SQL statement in order to extract this data from your EBS tables. Since this is journal data, the way for each entity wise, you need to prepare an SQL statement in order to extract the data if it is EBS system. Okay. Now, before, this is the star symbol is available, which are, mandatory column for this everyday sheet. Status code, ledger ID, effective date of transaction, journal source, journal category, currency code, journal entry creation, actual flag. These are mandatory. Along with this, you can find the segments, nothing but code combination. These are also mandatory against your chart of account structure. Oracle is not saying these are the optional, but these are the mandatory. Since we do have chart of account structure, right? If it's 3 segment combination, we need to populate 3 segments. The reason Oracle is not highlighted, these are the mandatory. We are not sure, right? How many records are, how many combinations, all these combinations would be same for each chart of account. No, right? These combinations would be different. These segments would be different against, your chart of account structure. So if it is 3 segments, you need to populate 3 segments. If it is 5 segments, you need to populate 5 segments. If it is 10 segments, you need to populate 10 segments. So these are also mandatory against our chart of account structure. This is your debit amount, credit amount, converted debit amount, converted credit amount. This is reference 1 is nothing but batch name, reference to batch description. Your 4 is nothing but journal entry name, 5 journal entry description, 6 journal entry reference, so on so. And these are currency conversion rate, currency conversion type, currency conversion rate, and currency conversion rate will come into picture. This is interface group identifier. This is we'll see later. Why interface group identifier come into picture? Okay, this is we'll see later. And these are your attribute columns, line level, header level, and this ledger name. When you very first time you can see the ledger ID. Oracle is saying ledger ID is mandatory, so it's not possible to maintain all the IDs from EBS systems to your Oracle system, right? Fusion system. Always ledger IDs would be different. So what Oracle is recommend, instead of ledger ID, you can use the ledger name. So when you use the ledger name, then ledger ID is optional. So here this is ledger name. You need to populate the ledger name, and this is the period name for which period you are trying to import the data to the application. This is period. These are attribute dates. Again, DFF dates and global attributes. Again, is your header level. This is your data. So before working with this everyday process, first you need to know the set of prerequisites for this process. Not only for this process, for any process, first you need to know the prerequisites from your application. Very minimal prerequisites like how to create the transaction. For it, this is in our case, this is GL journal ledger, right? So you need to know how to create a journal from your application. While creating the journal, what is the mandatory steps we are maintaining? In the same way, while creating the journal, what are the prerequisites are required? What are the prerequisites are required? That is, we need to know. Further prerequisites, what are the setups are required? Okay. If you know that the process, if any errors are there, you can easily identify and you can easily target your setup where it is missing. Okay, so first we'll see how to create a journal from application.
And between Vijay, like, can we customize these templates? Because
No,
let's say
there is
it
no
has.
custom. There is no, you cannot use any custom word here. That's it.
Oh,
Okay, everything is standard process. We cannot use any custom word. We cannot add any custom columns here against your spreadsheet.
okay.
The
Because
way
in
Oracle,
Oracle, if we like in R12, we can customize the web ADI template. So
yeah,
if I
that is
don't want
allowed.
100
Yeah,
columns, yeah,
your Audible is nothing but on-premise systems, right?
yeah.
Everything is you can with the organization itself. That is everything is in our hands.
Okay.
So we can do customization, anything. We can create custom tables, whatever it may be. The way you can customize your WebAD as well.
Yeah.
But here it cannot.
Oh, okay.
So this is
Will
general.
you still be able to load the DFFs, right, on the journal import
Sorry.
thing? DFFs.
Yeah, you can. We have seen the
Yeah,
attributes, right? That
right. Okay.
can populate against your context. This is general accounting. So what is the roles for this general accounting in order to get general accounting? In generally, in the real time, a dedicated everyday user will come into picture. A dedicated everyday user will work on this everyday process in the real time. Okay, you need to assign the respective roles. For example, when you work in the import journals, so you need to have an access for the same front-end application access. You need to request to the functional people so that they will assign the request roles. If it is AR, then you need to get an AR related application access, and they will provide the business unit access like that. So for the general accounting, this general ledger and general accounting and general accounting manager, these two job roles you need to assign to the user: general ledger, general accounting manager, and general accountant. These two job roles you need to assign the user so that you will get an access for the general accounting. Okay, this is generals and period close accounting dashboard. Accounting dashboard is nothing but just you can see the OTBI dashboard. As of now, you can leave this. This is journals where you can find your journals, create the journals, and you can see all the data here. This is a period close. If you want to maintain any periods opens or close, then this is the period close. First, we'll try to see the journals. Then after we'll navigate to the periods, rest of things. This is create journal, journals, and manage journals, create journals, so on. So create journal in spreadsheet. If you see here, when you open any application, if you are able to see the spreadsheet related menus, create journal in spreadsheet, create encumbrance journal in spreadsheet. In the same way, correct import errors. Correct import errors. When you click on the correct import errors, or when you click on any of these spreadsheets, it will download ADF BI sheets for us. You can create the journal from your ADF BI as well. So what functional people will do, very first time, once all the setups are done, they will try to push couple of transactions from this ADF BI spreadsheet. When you click on this journal spreadsheet, it will download one of the spreadsheet for us. By using this spreadsheet, they will try to push the data to the application for a testing purpose. All the accountings or hittings as expected or not. Okay, this is correct import errors. When you click on the same, it will download one of the journal corrections sheet to the local machine. You need to find the data against your error records. Okay, this is a create journal. Just click on the create journal. Before creating the journal, first you need to get a ledger access, right? First you need to get a ledger access. Here, how will you get a ledger access? Nothing but with the help of data access set. How will you get an access for a ledger is nothing but with help of data access set. See, if you see here, this is my data access set, XXX test primary ledger. Now for this ledger, I am trying to create the journal here. So before creating the journal, how will you get an access for this ledger access? First, we'll see that. Just navigate on maintenance. So what are the journals? Test. Just navigate to setup and maintenance. Just global search. There is a task manage data access set for users. Manage data access set, data access for users, especially for a specific data access sets like ledger access, data access set access, business unit access, customer site access, and inventory access. If you want to get any specific data access, then you can go for this task. Here, users without data access, users with data access. Okay. Now you can select, just try to add in a data access set here. So before that, what are the contexts would be available here? Nothing but these are the contexts. Data access set for ledger. This is again the ledger. We are not using this one. Always we are using for a ledger for data access set, business unit, and reference data set for customer site access and assets. And there is the inventory organization, item organization, intercompany organization, cost organization, so on. So are there. Most of the time, the real world we can use business unit, inventory organization, and this business data access set and this reference data set. These four options we can use in the real-time world. Okay. Now we'll try to add in a ledger access with the help of data access set. This is my test user 1. This is my username. And you need to select the role, general ledger role. This is general accountant and general accountant manager. These two job roles you need to assign the user before adding this data access set. The reason, first you need to get an application access. For that application access, whichever roles are there, against those roles, you need to add this security context. So this is general accounting manager. When you select the role, against the role, you can find the security context here. Now it is saying for this role, by default, there is 2 security contexts are enabled. So I need data access set. So when you select the security context data access set, you can see all associated ledgers here. All predefined ledgers you can see here in the security context value. So these are all your ledgers. Okay. So I'm trying to select one ledger here. Something CS, CU, US secondary ledger, whichever ledger, just try to save and close. So added one ledger here. Now select users with data access. Security context is data access set and search with your username, test user 1. Just try to search. You can see this user, this test user can have these many data access sets. Okay. Now you can see the same data access set against your user. Now you will get a ledger access set. general accounting and journals. Why this is something, this page is manipulated. Someone is customized this page. In generally, we can see here LOB. We can see many ledgers can associate it with the user, right? In our data access page. In your case, you can find here LOB. In the LOB, you can find your respective ledger here. Okay. There is LOB would be available here. In the LOB, you can find your respective ledger here. Something here page is customized. So the way you can get a data access set. Now here, this is my data access set. Now you can create your ledger, sorry, journal. This is journal batch, something GP10 journal batch 001. And this is my description. And accounting period is something, if whichever accounting period is open, the latest, it will refer the latest accounting period here. Source is manual. Since we are creating our journal from application, always it is static, which is manual. Approval status not required. And this is my journal, something GP10 payable journal. And you can provide the same, and the currency is the USD dollar. By for this ledger, this ledger is associated with a USD currency. If it is any cross currency, I want to create in a euro, then currency rates will come into picture. Currency conversion rate, type, rate, date will come into picture. You need to define. So before that, you need to import all your currency conversion rates. Okay. By default, now you can use the USD, which is a straight away currency. So for this, by default, it will take currency conversion rate 1, okay, and the conversion rate of the user. And this is journal line. So here we need to require code combinations, accounting combinations here. Against your chart of account, you can find the segments here. For my ledger, I have 3 segments. You need to pass the 3 segments here. This is company. This is the department. This is account. We have seen right already the start of account structure yesterday. I think day before yesterday. Just click on okay. This is 100 amount, something GP10 payable journal, and you can create the credit amount. Always it should be same, credit and debit. Then followed by 00 followed by 40, and this is 100, so that your record will be balanced. Debit and credit would be same here. Again, this is general entry line description. This is general entry line description. This is journal entry description. This is general batch description. All the columns you can find against your everyday sheet. Now try to save and close GP10, right? This is successfully created. Now just go to the manage journals. Remove the accounting period and search with your batch GP10. This is your journal. Journal is successfully created, and this is your journal batch. And this is still not in a posted, still it is unposted status. Here the category is adjustments have been taken. You can find all the categories, whichever category is just the same. This is how you can create a journal from UI. Tomorrow we'll see what are the prerequisite setups required in order to create this journal. So what are the mandatory here? Accounting period, ledger, accounting date, and the category, and the source, and your accounting information, debits and credits. These are mandatory. Tomorrow we'll see how you can find these accounting periods, whether the open status or the closed status. And tomorrow we'll visit once again this accounting structure, chart of accounting structure, and we'll see how to find the sources, and how to find the categories. And we'll see how to see these conversion rates. Okay, once we'll visit all these setups, then after we'll try to prepare the data here for a couple of transactions and we'll push the data to the application and we'll see the reprocess scenarios. Okay, that's it for today.